Hello, I'm Giles Darling and I write novels, plays and non-fiction books. In this video, I continue to talk about naming characters in your novels, screenplays or TV scripts. It's not just a matter of picking a name that sounds nice. There's much more to it than that. The internet is a very useful tool when searching for names by nationality, both for first names and for surnames or family names. Often, it will list names alongside meanings in English. For example, according to Google, Fen Hua is a unisex Chinese name that means youthful and energetic. This would be ideal if my novel includes a boisterous Chinese child. Remember that in many countries and societies, the family name or surname comes first, and the first name comes last. It's also worthwhile carrying out a general search on the internet in case the name you have chosen means something else, maybe something less positive, in another language. In my previous video on this topic, I talked about why characters should have different names. However, if your plot relies on mistaken identity, then you would need to use similar names. The similarity could be in the spelling, for example, one letter difference or a letter missing. This would suit a story where a package is misdelivered or the wrong suitcase is collected at an airport, for example. Alternatively, the similarity could be in the sound. This would suit a situation where names are called out or where eavesdroppers or spies listen into a private telephone conversation. A character's name can be inspired by real people, either as part of your book's story or in real life. For example, a character could be called Elvis because that character's parents in the novel are great fans of Elvis. Or you might have an altercation with someone in real life and decide to name an odious character in your story after them. This act of spite or revenge is probably not a good idea, even if it feels good at the time. This is for two reasons. Firstly, the person you fell out with could find out and threaten legal action against you. And secondly, its significance will be lost on almost everyone else. Use the other methods in this pair of videos to select the optimum character name for your villain instead. If your novel, screenplay or script is set in the past, the internet is a good way to research historical names and to choose suitable and appropriate character names. It can be disconcerting for the reader if they are confronted with an out-of-place modern name in a historical novel. It could even lead them to abandon your book altogether. For names set in the future, you will need to use your imagination. One source of inspiration is present-day brand names, such as for food or clothing. Wealthy people in the future could be named after today's luxury brands, while the poorer will have names based on more utilitarian present-day products. Can you think of any such names? If so, leave your suggestions in this video's comments. Another way to think up futuristic names is to take present-day names and change one or two vowels or consonants. Maybe the name Mark will one day become Mork, Merk, or Mark with the K replaced by a Q. It's likely that this is how names will evolve over time anyway. If your novel is set on another planet, among a society that has never heard of Earth, then you may need to form a whole new set of names. A search on the internet for ideas is probably a good place to start. Maybe future names will include numbers as well as letters, hyphens or other punctuation, or non-standard letters outside the normal 26-letter Western alphabet. Also, check on the internet that your made-up name isn't a rude word or offensive term in another present-day language. Easter eggs in films or movies are hidden jokes or humorous references made by the author or director, which the reader or viewer can discover often by chance and enjoy. An example of this is using names for two characters which, when combined, form a word with a different or further meaning. For example, two doomed lovers could be called Des and Pear. When their names are combined, this sounds a bit like despair. Similarly, combining the initial of someone's first name with their surname or family name can create humour. For example, maybe a mechanic is called Nicholas Gin. His accountant or the taxman knows him as Mr. N. Gin, which sounds a bit like engine. I'm sure you can think of much better examples. If so, please leave your suggestions in this video's comments. Ideally, this type of Easter egg should never be identified explicitly during the story, unless it forms part of the plot, because revealing the Easter egg will reduce the feeling of discovery that a reader or viewer otherwise has when they find it for themselves. For the villains and evil characters in your novel or screenplay, it's wise to carry out a search on the internet to check that there aren't any famous people already with the same first name and surname or family name. In this way, you avoid accidentally naming your villains after real-life philanthropists or other do-gooders. While you may not know these real-life people yourself, it's possible that your readers will. They are more likely to abandon your book or screenplay if they believe that you are slandering or libelling a real person, even if unintentionally. For my particularly unpleasant characters, I adapt names so that internet searches yield no results when searching for combinations of first name and surname or family name. Thank you for watching this video. Do you have any further suggestions for naming characters in novels, screenplays and scripts? If so, please add them to this video's comments. If your ideas are particularly good, I might even use them myself. Please also check out the rest of my YouTube channel, especially where I discuss the various books that I've written. I hope my channel encourages you to buy my books and to read them if you haven't already done so. Finally, please feel free to leave comments below and to like and subscribe this video and my YouTube channel. Cheerio!